Look at this. Just look at it, this right here is where it all began. This isn't just a Corvette, this is Corvette number 1, well not literally number 1 but it's a 1953 model. The first year they were ever made, only 300 were ever built, and today I get to drive it. This is a piece of American history, a legend that started a dynasty that is still going strong 70 years later. Most people have only ever seen this in a museum behind a velvet rope, but we're not just going to look at it, we're going to hear it, smell it. And most importantly, we're going to drive it. Buckle up, because we're going back to 1953. To understand why this car is so special, we have to go back to a post-war America hungry for innovation and style. GM's legendary designer Harley Earl had a vision. He'd seen the sleek European sports cars and thought America needed its own. The result was the Corvette, unveiled as a concept at the 1953 Motorama show. The public went absolutely nuts for it. The demand was so huge GM had to put it into production and fast, but this first year was a mad frantic scramble. They used an existing Chevy sedan engine, a truck transmission, and a body made of a revolutionary new material, fiberglass. Why? Because steel dies were too expensive and time-consuming to make. This car was built on a hope and a prayer. Let us just walk around it and drink it in. They called it a rolling sculpture, and it's not hard to see why. Every line has a purpose. That front end, they called it the face. With those twin teeth in the grille and those simple circular headlights, it's not aggressive, it's cheerful, optimistic. Now follow this line back, see how it sweeps up into the fender, and then the most famous feature of all, the cove, this recessed panel along the side, often two-toned. It's a genius design trick that gives the car a waistline, a sense of motion even when it's standing still. And out back, these simple, almost art deco taillights. There's no giant wing, no massive diffuser. The beauty is in its simplicity. This car doesn't shout, it whispers, and everyone listens. Okay, moment of truth, let's step inside, or should I say slide inside. This is not a car you just get into. The sill is high, you have to kind of fall into the seat, and while this is 1953, immediately you're greeted by this massive thin-rimmed steering wheel. It feels like you're driving a bus. Look at this dashboard, it's a single beautiful curving piece of body-colored fiberglass. These instruments are pure art. Simple white on black dials and these lovely binnacles, and what's missing? Everything. No cup holders, no touchscreen, no glove box, even there's a tiny ashtray. Your ventilation is called a window. This is raw, unfiltered driving. It's just you and the machine. Now for the moment you've been waiting for. Let us meet the heart of the beast. Pop the lid and here it is. This is the famous Blue Flame 235 cubic inch inline 6. Now, I know what you're thinking, a 6-cylinder in a sports car. In 1953 this was high-tech. It has a triple carb setup and it produces a whopping 150 horsepower, which back then was nothing to sneeze at. But the real story isn't the power, it's the character. This isn't a muted, quiet modern engine. This is all mechanical symphony. Are you ready? Let's wake the neighbors. Listen to that. That's not the roar of a V8, it's a smoother, more industrial purr. You can hear every mechanical part doing its job. The slight lumpiness of the idle, the whistle of the air through those carbs, it's pure music. This is it, we're moving. First impression, it feels fragile and precious. The steering is unassisted, which means at low speeds it's a workout. You feel every single ripple in the pavement through this thin-rimmed wheel. There's no power steering, no ABS, no traction control. It's just your muscles and your brain connected directly to the road. Now let's get up to speed. The gearbox is this 2-speed power glide automatic. It's not quick, but the shift is surprisingly smooth. Once you're cruising, the experience transforms. It finds its groove. It's not about speed, it's about the sensation, the wind in your hair, the smell of warm oil and gasoline, the mechanical symphony from up front. You're not just driving from point A to point B, you're participating in an event. Every input is deliberate. This isn't a car you drive, it's a car you manage, and it's one of the most rewarding experiences I've ever had behind the wheel. Now let's be honest, this is not a good car by any modern standard. It's flawed, and that's part of its charm. The brakes are drums all around, and you need to plan your stops about a week in advance. The visibility out the back, what back window? It's a tiny porthole. There's no air conditioning. On a hot day you will sweat. The weather protection is a laughable piece of canvas. This car is loud, sometimes unpredictable, and demands your constant attention. It's a diva, but you forgive it all because of what it is. The flaws are the price of admission for this incredible experience. So what's the final verdict? The 1953 Corvette is not the best sports car in the world, but it is one of the most important. It's the big bang, the genesis of everything that came after. Driving it isn't about comparing spec sheets, it's about connecting with history. It's about feeling the optimism of a nation and the boldness of its creators. It's a museum piece that against all odds you can actually drive, and that is a magical, irreplaceable feeling. It's a solid 10 out of 10 for historical significance and maybe a 6 out of 10 for actual driving dynamics, but who's counting? Turning off the engine is genuinely difficult. There's a silence that feels wrong. You just want the symphony to keep playing. This has been an absolute privilege. A huge thank you to name of owner/museum for trusting me with this priceless piece of history. If you enjoyed this trip back to 1953, if you felt even a fraction of the joy I did, do me a huge favor, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. What classic car should I drive next? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. This wasn't just a review, it was a history lesson, and I'm so glad I got to share it with you.